So, Caden, what advice would you give to kids your age about camping and exploring?
It's very good to explore and see new places and just getting out and getting off your phone or TV or iPad, getting away from those electronics.
For me, I enjoy just getting out and discovering all these cool places. And the thing that I really enjoy is when I'll get somebody that emails me or one of Caden's friends or parents that will send me a text message or email going, "Where was that?" And I just love that because then you can help these people discover the same things that you've discovered.
Warning. The 4x4 Canada podcast contains discussion about exploring mountains, camping beside lakes, and enjoying the outdoors. Guests also talk about jumping race trucks side by side, racing 1,000 horsepower rigs across mud pits, and jumping monster trucks over stacks of buses. None of this is for the faint of heart. The 4x4 Canada podcast is not responsible for bringing out your inner adrenaline junkie or making you want to get out there and explore the back roads from coast to coast. The 4x4 Canada podcast is not responsible for broken parts due to jumping your vehicle, hitting mud poles too hard, crossing deep streams, and doing other dumb shit. However, we will take credit for inspiring you to explore mountaintops, spend quality time outdoors with your friends, or meeting new like-minded people, and most importantly of all, following your dreams. Welcome to the 4x4 Canada podcast. I'm your host, Wes. Unfortunately, we're missing Trisha tonight. She's got to work, but we have a couple of really excited guests here today. We have Daryl and Cayden from VanCity Adventure. And welcome to the 4x4 Canada podcast, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So before we get into it with you guys, I just want to remind our listeners to please leave us a rating on the podcast app that you're using. It does help us out. And also don't forget to tell your friends about us if you do like the podcast. And we would love to hear, we've had a couple of emails this week. We'd love to hear some feedback from some of you. We've had some really good feedback, and we're going to be looking at implementing some of those changes here in the very quick future. So if you got some feedback for us, positive, negative, whichever, we'd love to hear it all. And that's the only way that we're going to grow. And that's the only way that we know that we're doing things right or wrong is if we do have feedback from you. So, and also if you want to be a guest on the show, like Daryl did, he sent in a request on the website. There's a spot there. He filled the form, send it in, and he said, "Hey, love the podcast. I want to be on your show." Here we are kind of idea, right? So we also had another listener send in a suggestion about another person to bring onto the show. And so we've gotten a hold of them. We're going to have Hub City Overlanding coming on soon here, probably in the next couple of weeks. He's a listener and a Instagram and YouTube fanatic over on the East Coast. And it's really neat watching his videos. I've been following him for a few years and can't wait to get him on and talk to him about his adventures over on the East Coast. So today we've got West Coast with VanCity Adventure. Next week or two, we'll have over on the East Coast with Hub City Overlanding. But in the meantime, let's talk about VanCity Adventure with Daryl and Cayden, as well as Tosha. We'll get into Tosha in a sec. But once again, thanks again for coming on, Daryl and Cayden. Really appreciate you guys taking the time. I know this last week's been a little hectic for both of us, especially me trying to get schedules worked out and stuff like that. But thanks for asking about the podcast and coming on board with us tonight.
Yeah, that's all good.
So just to give people a heads up, VanCity Adventure, the website is vancityadventure.ca, and all your socials on Facebook and Instagram are at VanCity Adventure. And I got to admit, you guys have a great looking website. Love the videos. I've been following you guys for a year and a bit, I think, but with the old paint job in the truck, basically, or the old wrap in the truck. But one of the reasons, I mean, there's a couple of reasons I wanted to talk to you guys today, but really excited to have Cayden on today. Cayden is our first under 18 guest. And Cayden's going into grade 6, I believe. And I don't know how excited he is about that. But, you know, Cayden, I really want to thank you for coming on board. I hope you're as excited as I am. And hopefully we can learn a little bit about this kind of stuff from a kid's perspective. Because us adults, we all know what our perspective is on it. But we can all learn from kids as well, too, right? So, Cayden, hope to get you involved in a bit here. So, let's back it up a bit, Daryl. Before the VanCity Adventure was a thing, did you grow up at camping and exploring?
I did. As a kid, we used to travel a lot. My mom was from the East Coast, and spring breaks, Christmas, stuff like that would alternate. We would head back east. So we did a lot of trips across Canada. We did a lot of trips through the USA as a kid. Like, pack up the camper and we were off. We'd have spring breaks sometimes in Arizona. We would have the camper and the motorbikes and off we went. So growing up, we did travel a lot. We would camp a lot with friends of ours, and we would, later on, we started 4x4ing, and that's kind of how it got ingrained into me, but lost later in life.
Right. And then eventually came back. And so where did the VanCity Adventure come to be?
Well, it's kind of funny. So we were working pre-COVID. Through my construction company at the time, we were asked to be in a Christmas parade. And I was trying to figure out music and stuff like that. And I had a friend I grew up with that used to be a DJ, and I had gone to clubs with him, helped him DJ and stuff like that too. And I had reached out to him and said, I need to get some music. Well, I'm not DJing anymore. I'm doing YouTube. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, you should try it. It's like, yeah, no. I mean, I've got a YouTube channel. It's construction. I've done interviews that are all there. Sure, whatever. So I'm talking to one of my employees, and he's like, you should do YouTube. And I'm going, you're the second person that said that. And I'm going, okay, let's try this. So I filmed one of these house lifts that we were doing. Of course, I'm the one filming. And he's like, no, you need to be in front of the camera. I'm just like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want to be behind. So film that and then put that up. And then I kind of like, okay, whatever. And this was right at the beginning, right pre-COVID. Then COVID hit. So I went from working,
80-hour weeks.
No, I went to working pretty much 80-hour weeks. More like 60, but down to working 2-hour weeks, 2 hours a week. And I was going nuts. And I just couldn't deal with it because I'm used to go.
Right. Yep.
So I said to my wife and Cayden, I said, we're going out. We need to do an adventure.
Yay!
So we hit Harrison, the right side of Harrison, and we had a blast. And we went down one road and kind of hit a deep puddle. But it kind of brought back the adventure part of it. And I enjoyed it. And I put that video up on our other channel, and it got like 20,000 hits. And I'm like, oh, there's something to this. And so I reached out to my friend. I'm like, say, what do you think? He's like, you did a really good job. He's like, the only issue is you're confusing people because you have it on your construction channel.
Right.
So he's like, you need to separate it. So I'm like, okay, separated it. And I thought, he has his own channel, and he's VanCity Van Life.
Oh, yeah. Chrome.
But I didn't know him as Chrome back when I was growing up. Back then, had a real name. So that took a bit of getting used to. But I said to him, I'm like, we grew up in Vancouver here. We grew up, in Abbotsford, Surrey. We're all over, but the Vancouver area. I said, do you mind if I use VanCity? He's like, no, go ahead. So we ended up naming it VanCity Adventure. If I could have changed it then, I would have, knowing, there's too much similarities now. Because we're more established of a channel now, it's kind of hard to go and change your name.
Yeah, but the VanCity works well for you guys because you guys are doing, whether you're hitting a car show in Langley or whether that bird refuge place from last week or a couple of weeks ago. So I mean, you're not just overlanding, exploring. You're also doing a lot of local Vancouver stuff that can be accessible by anybody, and that's one of the things I do like. I mean, whether you guys are hitting a waterfall that you never found before. That's one of the things I do like is it's not just all overlanding and camping stuff. There's a little bit of other fun, exciting stuff around Vancouver area.
Yeah, and that was one reason we kind of went more with the adventure side of things.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Because we're not always just overlanding. And one of the key things when I read the
logo?
Not the logo. Well, the logo too. Because I changed the logo and I changed the look of the website and the Facebook page and the truck. I wanted something that said, what we do. So the adventure, the overlanding, the travel. That's what we do. And my wife got jealous. I mean, she's usually not on these adventures. She's like, well, you never say anything about me. I said, well, you never come on these adventures. So I just for a joke, I did really small print. What did I put? And sometimes my wife.
Yes, I did see that.
And I said, here you go. And it made her laugh. So there's your credit. So she's not into the off-road stuff. And
she's been travel to like Mexico, Jamaica, Dominican.
Yeah. She likes to travel.
I get that. Yep. And you guys have had some good videos with that too. But yeah, like I say, that is one of the things I do like about your channel is that it does break it up a little bit. And it's like I say, whether hitting a car show or whether that bird place or going Capilano Bridge or wherever you guys are going, it's still related to Vancouver, but there's still a lot of overlanding or that kind of stuff as well too. So I think it's a good mix myself.
I love this area, and there's a lot of our viewers that aren't from this area. So they like to see things that are here. So if they ever do come, they get to experience it. Or they live, somewhere where they don't have trees. And, the one thing that I went to school for a couple grades down in Seattle. And the one thing that I always got asked was, how much snow do you have? I'm going, we're only 2 hours north. And it got to the point that I would say, yeah, sure. I live in a 2-story igloo. I've got huskies that pull my Ferrari. No, we're the same. So for me, it's fun to show people this is what it is like here. We have hot summers. We've got sometimes winters that we might get down to minus. I think the 12. Most I've seen is like minus 12 or 14. But we have mild winters here.
Yep.
So it's nice to educate some people.
And it's very much like the area that I'm in up in Kamloops or right down to the border. We've got little mini cactuses. We got sagebrush. We're semi-arid, I guess you'd call it, for lack of better terms. And a lot of people don't realize that, especially Americans don't realize that these guys in Canada actually have cactuses and it can get to 105 degrees. And so
that's one reason a lot of film companies love to film here. Because we're so diverse. We've got the snow, we've got the trees, we've got the deserts, we've got all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I did an interview recently with Sean from Story Till Now, and he said, I'm not I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but he goes, I'm not the star of the show. BC is. Because he's like, if I didn't have BC, chances are there wouldn't be a Story Till Now because everything in BC is so epic, right? So
it is.
And that's another reason why there's so many YouTubers in BC, because there is, such great content, but there's enough that we can all spread it around, right? So,
well, that's the thing. Like, I've had people reach out to me, and one thing that, like, Chrome and I've sat down a number of times, and we don't film ourselves, but I don't watch his channel for the fact that I don't want to be influenced by something he's doing.
Right.
Then I end up doing it. Because we've got similar names and stuff like that, I don't want to be called a copycat. I mean, I've had some emails saying like, why are you copying his name and stuff like that? It's like, no, we live in VanCity. We live in Vancouver. Because I've had other people say, well, you don't live in a van. No, I don't. I have a truck and I don't live in it. Like, we explore, we overland, we adventure. I'm not Chrome. He's a great guy. Got nothing against him. Known him for many years. But he's him. I'm me. And that's one reason I don't watch his channel. I mean, people send me stuff or I see a clip or something like that. But most of my communication is I'll send them a text message and we'll chat or we'll visit or whatever. So I just don't want to be influenced by others and what I do. Because we want to be original in what we do and how we do things. So,
which is very hard to do these days, right?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you started off with VanCity Adventure, and it kind of grew from there. When did you start seeing more growth? Did it take you guys long to start getting it, or did you guys start pumping it, I guess, right away?
It was pretty steady climb. I mean, it's kind of slowed down now because we were at the beginning of COVID and all that stuff. I think people didn't really have much to do.
Yeah.
And when we started our channel, I remember we were in Merritt. We were sitting in a field with Chrome, and I think it was near Thanksgiving. because we brought him some turkey and stuff like
yeah,
that. And we were just sitting there chatting about YouTube and stuff like that. And at that point, and this was, I guess that would have been October then, he was sitting at like 40,000 subs. And from that point to now, I think he's almost at 200 or he's over 200. He's over 200. Okay. Wow. Okay, good. Yeah, his channel has just grown great. And I think a lot of people, same thing, like they just had nothing else to do. They'd sit in front of YouTube and watch. Yeah. So right now we've kind of hit a point that we're kind of slowed down. It'd be nice to see some more growth. I'm not doing it for a paycheck. I'm doing it more for the fun of it. I don't put out a video every day either like he does. So for
that's a lot of work.
Oh, it is. I couldn't do it. Like I have a job.
Yeah.
If that were my job, you know what? I would have to do it.
Yeah.
But again, I also have a wife. I also have a house. So yes, and I have a kid. Yes. If I were, single all by myself, that's a whole nother story. Do what you want, right? But you can't in some cases. Yep. So for me, I enjoy just getting out and discovering all these cool places. And the thing that I really enjoy is when I'll get somebody that emails me or one of Cayden's friends or parents that will send me a text message or email going, where was that? And I just love that because then you can help these people discover the same things that you've discovered. And I just love that.
Exactly. And even sticking within the Van area or the lower mainland, there's so many areas that you guys have explored, whether it be waterfalls or, different areas that you guys have opened up that even you didn't realize were there, right? So to show it to other people so they can see it and go from there, I think that's great. What are you guys using for cameras?
Most of my filming is just done on my iPhone.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. It's amazing how good the quality of a lot of these cell cameras are these days. Yeah.
Like I started off on my iPhone 8? Did I? Or was it my...
No, it was 8. I remember.
But I mean, most of my stuff now is on my iPhone
13 Pro Max.
13. I don't even... He knows it all. But we've also added, our GoPros to the channel for any of our exterior shots, our water shots, our adventure, whether it's zip lining or whatever it might be, because they're a little bit easier and you get less shaking with it. So we just did... I'm ahead in my videos right now.
You are?
I'm into December right now for my editing, which I'll probably end up backing up a bit. But we just did another boat adventure, my wife and I. And using my phone was just like, it was too shaky. So using the GoPro, I could, didn't show up as shaky.
Right.
So I like the stabilizers that those have.
Yeah.
We use our drone and following the truck. And I think I'm on my 5th drone right now because I've crashed a few. And sometimes I'll use the dash cam. I keep forgetting about it. That's on the truck. So
yeah, I never think of that.
Yeah, it's there. And I'm going, that makes some good shots, but then I always forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Well, I think it just goes to prove that I know a few other YouTube folks that are using the cameras, like their cell cameras, or started off with those and have moved up over the years. But it just goes to prove anybody that is interested that you don't need a high quality audio or visual gear. You don't have to go and spend $4,000 on a camera, and you don't have to have 4 different cameras going on all at the same time and stuff like that. So that's great to see. That's what, you guys are using.
Well, I tried my DSL, but it's so heavy. You're sitting there trying to film and then you try to film yourself and it's like, it's like, I can't. Like my old camera that you have now.
The big one.
The Nikon, the big camera? Yes, it's pictures and stuff like that when we want to. But to film and stuff, it's just,
Yeah. So, Cayden, I noticed that you've been doing some of the video shooting. Do you enjoy doing that? Do you like to be behind the camera or in front of the camera more?
In front.
Yeah.
Yep.
You like to be the star of the show, do you? Well, I think it's really neat seeing, a father and son out there exploring. And I know you may roll your eyes at me now, Cayden, but looking back in 30 years in the future, you'll look back at these days and look back at these videos and just remember all the good times with your dad. So I'm glad you're out there doing it with your dad. That really makes me happy to see. So let's talk about the truck. Can you give their listeners a rundown on your big beast?
We have a
2000 Dodge Ram 1500.
yes.
100 engine. Hemi.
5.7 liter.
5.7 liter.
I got that thing when it had, I think,
A year.
less than a year. There was somebody had leased it. He had about 22,000 on it. And then I bought it. So I'm the second owner of it. And for years, I didn't do a lot of anything because that was my little baby. And, that thing's in pristine condition. And, of course, COVID hit. We're hitting the back roads. I'm like, okay, I need new tires. Well, with new tires, I need to get new rims. Gotta look nice. And then when we were up in, or over in, whatchamacallit? Shoe swap. No, not shoe swap. Squamish.
Okay.
We ended up getting stuck there. And at that point, I'm just like, okay, some people came along. They ended up pulling us out. I mean, I even got to the point that I put Cayden behind the wheel. But to see the look when he hit the gas, luckily it wasn't in gear, was like, okay, this might not work too well. So it was at that point, I'm like, I need to do some updates. So it's like, okay. So that's when we started updating with new bumpers and front bumper, new lighting and a lift, and we added the tent, and we've done so many things to the truck that people don't know what year it is anymore. Like I've gone into a dealership and they don't even know.
It looks good. Like it's a great looking truck, and it does actually look new. Well, especially with that new wrap you got on there.
Yeah, and I like the new wrap because of COVID. I mean, it pretty much killed my construction company. And because I had clients that owed me money and you just can't keep up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, legally, I'm still after them through lawyers and stuff. But I mean, that company, it just can't maintain itself now. So I sold the assets off so I could pay some of those bills off.
Yeah.
And the company that bought them, I'm now working for. So I'm, doing all the marketing and the project management of it. And in some ways, it's great. I don't have all those responsibilities anymore. And it was at that point, I was like, well, my truck is still my truck. The other trucks are part of the company. They go with that. But mine, I'm rewrapping. Because my wife said before, you got your construction company here, and then you got on the top, you got VanCity Adventures. She's like, it's confusing. So I'm like, okay, fine. So 2 months later, after, redraw after redraw after redraw, finally came up with the design and look that I wanted for the truck. So I wanted it to pop. I wanted it to look, rugged. I wanted it to say in colors and looks and stuff what it was we did. So I think we pulled that off.
I think you nailed it. And to our listeners, definitely go to VanCityAdventure.ca or, VanCity Adventure on Instagram or Facebook, and you can see what we're talking about. It's great looking Dodge. It pops, it hits you. It's VanCity Adventure right in your face kind of idea, right? So that you guys have arrived.
Yes. It's like a friend of ours. We met up with her on Sunday. We went down to Washington. We went to Snoqualmie Falls.
Yep.
And she's like, I had no problem finding you. I pull in, there's your truck. I started laughing. Like, yep, she stands out. We go by some cops and they're just like, it's funny just watching them stare. But yeah.
So you're running a doghouse tent on that, right?
Yes.
So which tent are you running of theirs?
We have their newest one. It's their hard shell. It is a 3-man tent. And we were the first ones to have it on our truck. And that thing it's awesome. It really is. I like the hard shell because we had one that was, plastic before. So it wasn't just this one. It's got the racks on it. I've got my solar on there. I've got my kayak rack on there for Caydens kayak.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my, I haven't finished installing it yet, but I've got our Midland antenna attached now for our radio. It's housing a lot of stuff up there. Which is perfect because now I've got the solar to charge the fridge and I've got all these things that, I use that space. So And the tent itself is great. I mean, it's easy setup. The awning's great to have. And everything is just as perfect. Like, we just love our doghouse. And whenever
Beautiful.
your wife sends you the doghouse, there you go.
It's almost more comfortable sometimes than in the real bed, right?
Well, the one thing I did not like about the tent was how uncomfortable it was. Because I've got a bad back. I was in a car accident many years ago. And I would toss and turn, and I could not get a comfortable sleep. I bought a little air mattress. That didn't work. I put a yoga mat underneath the mat to soften it up. That didn't work. So we had one of our sponsors reach out to us, and they had this 4-inch roll-up mattress. And we tried it out at the BC Overland Rally. I slept great. I had no issues. I felt like I was at home. It was so comfortable.
Nice.
So
and
that issue's gone.
We don't mind mentioning your sponsors, and that's something that we actually like to promote. I mean, these guys are helping you out, and we want to help them out as much as possible. So who was that brought that for you?
That was Muffin Top.
Okay. I haven't heard of them before. So see, that's why we mention sponsors. We like to talk about people that you work with, right? So who is Muffin Top? What are they about?
They just do these mattresses, and they're just they got them in, I think, 4 or 5 different colors.
Okay.
And it's MUFNTOP. And
cool. Muffin Top.
It's like, 2 inches of styrofoam and then 2 inches of memory foam.
Yeah.
And a nice solid case, and that rolls up into a cylinder, essentially. Like, you can roll it up. It takes up a bit more space than I would like. So I'm still trying to figure out that for when it comes to packing things and stuff like that.
Right.
But as far as sleep, it's worth it.
Beautiful. Well, that's good to know. I hadn't heard of them before, so that's definitely something to look into. I've got a rooftop tent, and mine's actually pretty comfortable, so I've been pretty happy with it. But I know that is one of the bigger complaints about some of the rooftop tents is the mattress.
Yeah.
So definitely, on your recommendation, we let people know to check it out and go from there.
Oh yeah,
so
they're awesome.
What else are you running for accessories on the truck?
Oh, we've got our Max Tracks. We've got our Roto Packs. So I'm running with a gas storage and water container. I haven't used the gas one because I'm probably going to get another one. Because every time I go on the ferry, it's an issue. Every time I go across the border, it seems to be an issue. So I don't even use it for that. Like, I may as well just use it for water or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody seems to have an issue with it. So we've got an adrenaline bumper on the back and the front.
Mm-hmm.
BDS lift. We're running with Black Rhino rims. We've got, of course, the doghouse tent. Our solar is rock solar.
We got doghouse tents with rock solar, he already said. Black Rhinos are rims. Adrenaline bumpers is our bumper. Well, front and back. Iceco is our fridge that slides out. Joka is our portable shower. 2 rooms.
And the hot water.
Blue Eddy is our battery pack and our
water, yeah.
Aux beam is our lights.
That's all our extra lighting, yeah.
Extra lighting.
Yep.
Barrel is our water bottle that filters water. And what's this one? Caydens.
They just supplied us with our air filter.
They supplied us with
air intake.
Toyo Tires did our tires. Hitchweb.
Hitchweb is, they're a portal for lots of different off-road supplies and stuff. They gave us a good deal on our tonneau cover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they're really great people, and they're Canadian. Strike Force
67 did our foldable tracks.
Yeah, but what are they called? Go Treads.
Go Treads.
So the thing I like with the Go Treads is they have a lifetime warranty on them.
Yeah.
So do Max Tracks, but with the Go Treads, we can use them as leveling blocks as well.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like them. They, they're nice and tiny. They pack nicely. I've blown 2 panels on the Max Tracks. Yeah, when we went for
Go Treads.
Sorry, the Go Treads, and they just sent us the replacements. Easy to fix. Put it back together, and off you go.
Yeah, we had them on. I think it was around Christmas time kind of idea. We had Strike Force 67 on.
Kevin?
And yeah. Super nice guy. Great guy. And we talked about the Go Treads. We talked about a couple of their other products. But the Go Treads, to me, I have to get a set because it's not only, like you say, the fact you can use it as a recovery board, but you can stack it so it's like 4 or 5 sections high and use it for your leveling with your rooftop tent. And then also it's the fact that I've from what I've noticed with Max Tracks is that, any of those, that style of board, is that it can be tough to get it into the hole if you're in snow or whatever. And whereas the Go Treads, you can sort of lay it to the lay of the land kind of idea, right? So it's a little easier to work with sometimes on that. So that's definitely going to be, I think it's a time and purpose for each one.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Obviously, I've gone across little cross stitches and stuff like that or washouts, and we've used the Max Tracks where the Go Treads would not work because they're not solid, right? We've put logs or whatever underneath the Max Tracks and gone across that way. But so they each have their own, purposes. But I really think that Strike Force has something with those Go Treads. I think they're really neat product.
They do. And Go Tread themselves has, been great too. I mean, they've reposted some of our stuff. I don't know if Kevin has, but I know the American side has.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you're running the Iceco fridge, right? What do you think of it?
I like it. Once I could figure out the issues we had with our solar, everything worked fine. Because I had the fridge plugged into our inverter. Well, the inverter's pulling more power. So it kept on draining the battery.
Right.
So it shut down. So then I just did a direct, connect to the battery, and I've had no issues with the cooler since.
Gotcha.
So
good. That's good. Because they've come around in the last couple of years, and there's, ARB and Dometic have been around for years. I've got a Dometic myself, but it's nice seeing some of these other brands come up to give a little bit of competition, price wise as well too, right?
Well, and that's the same thing with Oxbeam. Like, they reached out to us, and they're everywhere. But like I said to them, I said, I've got some lights that you sent me. I said, I'm having issues with them. I'm going to be doing a story on them. And they're just like, well, we've got new ones. Would you mind just, doing your story, but saying, we're sending you new ones to replace them. They're better quality. So they did. And when I got them, I'm looking at them going, they look like they're the same. So I've got them in. I haven't seen the flaking yet because they're made out of black aluminum. They're not going to flake. Where if they're just, whether they're painted or they're powder coated and they start to flake, well, that really starts to bug me. So I got a couple other lights that are starting to do the same thing. So I did tell them, I'm like, you guys need to look at this. If you want to compete at your value and stuff like that, you've got a good light, but they're not holding up. Yeah. So he's like, okay. He's like, I'll talk to them about it and see what we can do. So, I mean, sometimes this is how companies will grow. Yep. So,
as long as they're listening to the feedback that their customers are giving them, that's, the biggest thing, right? So, and then Blue Eddy, that's actually something I've been looking at myself. What are your thoughts? I see that you're running their there's portable solar as well as the regular, whatever you want to call it, power box or whatever you want to call it, right? But that's kind of an idea that I've been looking towards is going to a power box and then the different solar panels as well.
The portable's really handy to have. Like, if we're just out at an event or whatever, just to charge up the Blue Eddy itself, it takes no time. I mean, that thing is charging, usually about 160 watts on the 250 that it is. Or is it 200?
I think 200. I don't know.
It might be a 200. And we usually will use the Blue Eddy inside the tent just to, charge our phones and have everything charging and have a place to put my phone so it can charge as well on top. So it's great to have. So like when we were in Merritt, I just had the panel out charging and everything was getting charged off of that. Well, the one that's on my truck was just charging the fridge and I have a light that's hooked to it. So I didn't have to draw from any of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
which it's nice having it on two separate things, right? So
yeah. And I found the Blue Eddy is very durable.
Mm-hmm.
So I've dropped.
I have heard a lot of good things about the Blue Eddy.
Yeah.
From a lot of people, so that's good. So, Cayden, what do you like about overlanding and camp and exploring?
Just like getting out there and exploring new places, like going on to Golden Ears.
Yeah, just finding new places. Yeah. And I should mention that's probably Tosha that we hear in the background there. So on your lap, beautiful. What kind of dog is Tosha?
Tasha's a pug.
A pug. That's what I thought. Yeah.
She thinks she's human.
A lot of them do. So, Cayden, once again, what do you not like about camping and overlanding?
Dad doesn't really play with me a lot. He's more of a just sitting there because he likes to film.
Likes to film and relax, right? So
yes, when I like to play.
Gotcha. And what do you like to play when you're camping?
Well, last time when we were camping, we were going to play football because my mom found a football, and my dad didn't want to play, and then he kept throwing it into the bushes, so my mom went to get it, and then just me and my mom played.
That's okay, too. That's okay. I always keep a Frisbee in the back of my vehicle. They're always nice and fun. Yeah, they're small and fun to do. Do you guys play like board games and stuff like that when you're sitting around the fire or sitting around the picnic table?
Yeah, we've got, what do we have? We have Uno. He loves to play Uno, so we'll play 4 or 5 games of Uno.
I like the night.
Don't just use the pads.
The patch.
We'll just play 4 or 5 games of Uno. My wife ended up buying, I haven't tried it yet, but it's Monopoly. It's a card game for Monopoly.
Oh, okay.
Monopoly Go. So we haven't tried that one yet.
That'll be interesting.
So there's that. But yeah, he likes to play card games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When driving, he likes to play I Spy. He'll pick something and I'll have to guess what it is. I see something that's red or whatever.
Right.
When we're driving, was I Spy something?
Oh, I Spied My Little Eye?
Yeah, that's what it is. So we'll play that while we're driving. We
used to play a couple different games when we were driving, and one of them was, especially if we had 6 kids in the family, so it was always an adventure. But going down the road and the vehicle's coming towards you, like say the first one would be my vehicle, and I got a bright red Ford F-150, and then the next vehicle will be somebody else's, and it's like, that person got a Beetle or whatever, and you keep on going like that, and it's like, somebody got a beat up Mazda on 3 tires kind of idea, right? Or somebody got a cool Harley motorcycle, or it kind of go like that, or it would even go that with places, right? So places on say the passenger side, it's like, that first place, that's a great house, and then the next one is like, that one's a dive, and I got the auto wreckers, woohoo, or kind of stuff, right? So just different games like that on the road to try and keep all 6 of us entertained.
Well, that's the thing, right? And sometimes it's hard when you're driving, though. So like, I spy someone's pilot on, like, okay, please let it be in the front somewhere where I can see.
Exactly.
Like,
So, Cayden, what advice would you give to kids your age about camping and exploring?
It's very good to explore and see new places, and like just getting out and getting off your phone or TV or iPad, getting away from those electronics.
That's a great point of view. I love that point of view coming from, and you're going into grade 6, right? So how old are you then?
11.
Nice.
11 next week.
Yeah, next week.
Okay.
August 31st.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
So one last question for you, Cayden.
Yeah?
What is something that parents should remember when camping with kids?
Bring extra energy.
And it can be tough for parents. I understand it. You want to get there, you want to sit back and you relax, and and I understand that some of you younger folks want to just go kind of idea, right? Especially after being cooped up in a vehicle for half a day, right, Cayden? That's at least us parents, when we're driving, we've got stuff to pay attention to, like the steering and braking, right? But I understand when you get out of the vehicle, you just want to go explore, you want to do fun stuff and burn off some energy, and I get that. So
we're tired because we've been driving all day.
Exactly. So I got a question for both of you guys. You can answer separately if you want. What are your favorite meals when you're camping?
There's always a staple, which is your hot dogs and hamburgers. I do have a bunch of, which we haven't used yet, a bunch of, meals and stuff that, just use hot water and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But, it's nice to, Cayden likes, well, I mean, I'll let you do what you want on that one, but sometimes sandwiches and just easy things to make. And I don't want to be spending tons of time cooking either.
Yeah.
So
sometimes I make the food.
Yeah, you have.
I like the what's it called, the round meat again that we normally use camping?
Oh, the whatever it is. Yeah,
it's called turkey. I don't know.
Sure.
Turkey, a burnt turkey. How about that?
Turkey slices.
Yeah, turkey slices.
Yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha. And for your sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the good ones.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to do some quick, simple meals, right? So you don't spend half the time cooking and cleaning and all that. So I totally get that. Do you guys do like craft dinner and that?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Have you tried those new ones from, I can't remember the brand name on them. They got the cheetah on the front and they've got the cheesy
Cheetos?
and the Cheetos ones. Yeah. Have you tried those?
We tried some of those.
We tried the green one. We tried the
extreme hot.
Oh, that was hot. Then the orange one, which is, I don't know, the medium. And then we tried the normal one, the cheese one. I love that one. I love just cheese.
The extreme hot it was good, but it was...
I had a whole glass of milk. I've never had it. I like it, but it's too hot for me.
Flaming hot.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Sometimes I'll just put some other little spices in there while I'm making something up, right? But I do like those when I'm camping because it's nice and quick and easy and that as well too, right? So or you can throw other stuff in there too. You can throw a can of salmon or a can of tuna in there and stuff like that too,
I'll cut up hot dogs and throw them in there too.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, exactly. So I really enjoyed your video about Albus Falls from last year, partially because I'm from up in the interior and I know that area quite well. For those that do not know, Albus Falls is a series of 5 waterfalls on the north side of the Shuswap Lake up by Seymour Arm. It's a long drive. You're a couple hours to get there from Celesta or from Chase or whatever, right? But it's a long drive, but it's totally worth it. So the one thing I noticed, like I say, I really enjoyed that because I do know the area, but I noticed you guys hiked up the opposite way that I do normally. Yeah. And I think your way is a little, even though the way I go up the south side of the creek, it's steeper because it's got the rocks and stuff you got to climb over, but that gives you a chance to sit down and rest, or not sit down, but it gives you a chance to rest. The way you went is like up all the time. There's no flat spots. There's no nothing.
Yes.
But
it's very steep, very windy. I didn't know which way to go.
Right.
So when we went, because it showed us a loop, I'm like, okay. So, but when you go the other way, you're not really close to the falls. There's some points that you're right at the falls, which is nice. Like we could walk right out onto the rocks, but it's not till get across the bridge and you're coming back down that you really get to see the falls.
Yeah,
because you might be able to see it through the trees or whatever, but you go up the first side there, the left side. It's definitely more picturesque than going up the other side.
Yeah, you can't go wrong going up either way. I mean, especially if you do the loop. Go up one side, go down the other. You're going to see the same views kind of idea, right? No matter which way you go. But it's a great set of falls. I think it's 5 falls, isn't it? Or is it 4? I can't remember.
I think it's 5 falls.
Yeah.
Beautiful falls. And each one is different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, you get out there, and when we got to the bottom, I had to yell it out. It's like, do epic shit. No. You have to. That's what we do.
I did see that. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. No. Pretty cool area. So I do have to say one thing about talking about the North Shuswap this past weekend. The forest fire pretty much exploded over there, and a lot of homes lost in the Celesta area and that. So, and to West Kelowna and Kelowna itself as well. And this was a rough weekend last weekend in BC with all the fires, and our thoughts are out to you guys, everybody on that. And I can't imagine going through what people are going through with their lost homes. So, it's something that we all thinking about, you guys, and hoping for you. And if there's anything that we can do, to always let us know. But it's a sad situation, but we will rebuild and go from there, right? So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
We were actually going to go up there last weekend, right when everything happened. We didn't, but we were going to go because last year we were up there and we wanted to do it again, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So with the fires and stuff. So
yeah, it's unfortunate, and it's tough, and even up in Northwest Territories with Yellowknife and that too. It's they're still evacuated up in there too, right? So, but I can start to see past my front door now with the smoke, so we're doing a lot better.
Well, it's the same thing here. Like, we had a lot of smoke, but I mean, we had some wind yesterday, and it's going to clear the smoke out. But over the weekend, it was just dark, low, and gray.
Yeah. So one of the other fire areas is over by Boston Bar, and of course, we found out this weekend that the Nahatletch Fire Tower burned up, and that was a forest fire lookout that had been rebuilt by the Four-Wheel Drive Association of BC in 2012, and it had fallen to the ground under disrepair prior to that. And so the Four-Wheel Drive Association of BC rebuilt it and have been lovingly maintaining it over the past year. And I'm sure people have seen the video of it burning. Litnet is the internet provider in the Lytton area, and they had a tower up there, and they have a camera on that. So that was captured when it did burn down. So have you guys been up to that lookout before?
No, it was on my list of things to do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've had friends that gone up there, so you really got to take it up there. It's epic.
Yeah.
And it's on my list of places to go. I just haven't made it up there, and now it's so.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the Four-Wheel Drive Association is going to do a rebuild on it. I mean, there's always lots of talk, but, of course, it'll take a bit of time to go through the red tape with the provincial government. In the end, it's their decision that, but I'm confident it's going to go through. So hopefully within the next couple of years, you guys can go up there and check it out. Have you been up to any of the other fire lookouts like Cornwall or the Greenstone by Kamloops or anything like that?
No, we haven't.
Okay. Well, we'll have to get you guys up to some of those. They're like Cornwall's a great one. And that's another one maintained by the association. And it's a good road up there and some great views. And so when you guys come up in the interior, let me know and we'll take you to Greenstone or Cornwall, or there's a few other ones around here that are full-size vehicle friendly.
Yes.
There's some that aren't.
When you drive by, right?
Exactly. Yeah, there's a few that are not full-size friendly. So, but yeah, there's lots of good trails out there. And to our listeners, if you are interested in forest fire lookouts, I run a group called BC Forest Fire Lookouts on Facebook, and check it out. And there's all kinds of great photos right from history, because I'm a huge history buff. So I post a lot of history photos, and as well as other people, and right up to, people when they go up and they do a drive up to one of the lookouts, they take the pictures and drone photos and they share it on the group page. So, and we've actually have a lot of people that used to work in the forest fires lookouts, which is really cool because they talk about what it's like when in a lightning storm, sitting at the top of this mountain and it's hitting the lookout, and they have steel guide wires to go down, and they're actually for lightning. There's a lightning rod at the top, so the lightning will hit the rod at the top and then circle around the building a couple times and then go down. And so it's really interesting to listen to the people that actually worked on those lookouts back in those days, tell their stories about lightning and about animals and people and all that stuff. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so have to check it out. BC Forest Fire Lookouts, just a shameless plug on my side.
No, definitely want to check them out. Like, I remember, which also burnt, but there was this old railroad trestle. I can't remember exactly where, but I remember as a kid, we were down on one of the BC Hydro roads, and it's really narrow road, and traveling and looking up and seeing this old wooden trestle. And I wanted to go find it to show Cayden it, and did all my research and found out it was burnt. Yeah. So we did find another one, and it had a fire too, but it was a metal structure. So that one's closed. But it's
when there was no Coquihalla Highway at that time, right?
Yeah.
So we would have to go down to the coast. We'd either have to take the Fraser Valley or go down through Hope Princeton kind of idea, right?
Yeah.
But we also used to do the Coquihalla. There was old roads going from Merritt down through the Coca. And
Actually bypass.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And we used to be able to go up, before the Coquihalla became a highway, we used to go along there and we camp or whatever, but we would go up and there's the old, I can't remember the name of the Kettle Valley Railway, I guess it was. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. But and they had the bridges and that. So we used to hike up to the bridges and walk across until my mother freaked out and said, you can't go any farther because it's a 200-foot drop or 100-foot drop kind of idea, right?
It's still there. It did have a fire, but they've closed it down now. Like they don't want people going there anymore.
Yeah.
So we were, I think, about the last ones through there before they got shut down.
Yeah.
So
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You told me to stay up there?
Yes.
That one? Oh.
Yeah.
Burnt?
Well, it had there was some fire there, but it has got the old tunnel too, which is collapsed. You saw that. One of the old railroad tunnels.
Oh, it collapsed?
Collapsed before, a long time ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Part of the Othello Tunnel row, essentially. So, and even that, like the Othello tunnels, I mean, that's just, right now, they've done nothing. It's still closed. Yeah, I was talking to a friend of ours that lives near there, and there's like, they plan on getting it fixed, but just haven't done anything yet.
Well, they also plan on fixing Lytton too, right?
Well, yeah. And you drive through there and it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there used to be.
So you guys have worked with some really good companies and done some reviews on some of their products. And we did talk about some of them before, but is there any one that you really wanted to give a shout out and that you're really super happy with their products and their customer service, etc.?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, my favorite to work with is Doghouse. Working with Lee and the crew has just been amazing. And it's been great for him too. I mean, we're everywhere with the truck and advertising our Doghouse, where, a Doghouse tent is way cheaper than a lot of these tents that are out there. And for him, like, he's just built himself a new warehouse so he can store a lot more tents now, a lot bigger space to do the installs. Like, he can do more than one install now, and it's all covered. So, he's improving his side of things, which is great. And as far as other sponsors, we've got some new ones that we're kind of working with. It's not official yet, and those will be coming. But I mean, one of them we just got was the Midland stuff. So we're excited about that. Our radio, our CB, all that kind of stuff. They sent us a ton of stuff.
Nice.
From walkie-talkies to the CB, emergency radio, which runs off of solar or hand crank.
Midland is a great company.
They are.
They have a great product and they're very supportive of the industry from what I've seen.
Yeah, you see them at a ton of overlanding shows, which is great. Jolka they're amazing as well. Like, they reach out to us and ask us if, what is it? Is there any issues you have? Like, they like the feedback.
That's
same with
what you
Blue
like
Eddy.
to hear.
Yeah, same with Blue Eddy. It's like, what would you like to see? What are some of the things that you find issues with? So they're open to, whether you want to call it criticism or not, but they're open to advice on making their products better.
Yeah.
Because, we're using it. So as an end user, why not? Right?
Yep. Yeah.
So things like that I just find great. Adrenaline Bumpers, he's been great. I mean, he's Alberta. I know I put Chrome in touch with him because Chrome's looking for, stuff for the ambulance. So he might be doing some stuff for him. I don't know if they've talked or not. But yeah, I mean, putting one of his bumpers on that ambulance, just make that thing an absolute beast. So it's nice to see, some of the sponsorships we have that people are reaching out and they're getting these products, and it helps them out as well. And that's what we're about, is, putting people in touch with everybody. We get a lot of companies that will reach out to us and, well, can you review this or review that? And we will. We had one that reached out to us. They wanted us to do a review, and I said, sure. And they sent us the product, and I started filming, and I tried charging the thing, and it was like a Blue Eddy, but it wouldn't charge. So I tried charging a different way, it wouldn't charge. So then I had to use my Blue Eddy to plug into a cigarette lighter, to plug it into that. And I'm going, okay, guys, I can't do a video on this because I said it won't look good. I said, it's not working. Well, try this and try that. And it's like, obviously, you must have got a faulty one. You can send it back. We'll send you a new one. And I haven't seen any information on sending it back yet. So we've never even done anything with that video. But
well, that's the thing is you got to be honest about it, right? So whether you're honest for your viewers and you got to be honest for those companies that are, working with you.
Oh, exactly. It's just like my mirrors. Like I did a review on our mirrors and, I had them rattling as I was driving. I'm like, oh, that's normal. Okay. And then, I can't remember what it was that they started to shake. I had one guy actually hit my mirror and it just blew up. And so I reached out to them and saying, these mirrors are crap. What do you want to do about it? Well, we're not going to do anything. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I told everybody, I mean, they're crap. Yep. I got new ones.
Recommend them again.
They're solid. There's no rattling. I've had other trucks, sometimes you're going down roads and they're kind of narrow. Yeah. My mirrors have been hit like a number of times and they're still intact. They didn't shatter like the other ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's being honest with people and letting them know that, we thought these things were great, but now they're not. So
no, it's as long as you're honest with the viewers and with the companies, that's all you can do,
exactly.
Right? So
sometimes they don't want to do anything, and that comes down to them. But same thing with the mechanic that we had. We had our heater core replaced, and I asked them, is it OEM part? Oh yeah. Well, I went in for I don't know how many times under warranty to get it fixed. Never got fixed, and we were traveling in minus 12, minus 13 weather, whatever it was, freezing as we're driving.
Yeah,
they refused to fix it, so I had to fix somewhere else. Finally, they did pay the bill for it, which I'm thankful for, and I removed the reviews. But we won't do business together again. So,
once bitten, twice shy, right? So,
yeah.
So the last question we ask all of our guests is, what Canadian would you like to listen to on the 4x4 Canada podcast?
Any Canadian?
Any Canadian.
Bryan Adams?
I'll see what I can do on that one. I was thinking Chrome.
Chrome would be a good one.
He'd be interesting. I don't know if he'd be interested in that. It's something I'll talk to him one day on. But
well, the biggest thing with him is he is very, and he knows I don't mean any offense by it, but he's very ADHD. So you have to stay on top of him if you try to get a hold of him. So, yeah, I mean, we go back to 93, I think it is, or 92, something like that. So, but I mean, he'll admit it himself. It's like, and he's busy.
He has admitted it. Yeah.
So it's but yeah, he'd be a good one. There's some smaller channels that, are full of energy. As far as 4x4 though,
I do want to talk to the guys at Doghouse and get them on. And I would, just as a heads up, I will be name dropping you for that.
I can even recommend you to Lee. That's no problem.
Yeah.
Lee would be into that kind of stuff. He's a really cool
I think
guy.
it'd be really neat to talk to him about his, tents and the differences between them and stuff like that. So
they're pretty much all made in the same factory.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, right?
So it would be good to talk to Lee about it. And we have talked to other like Sky Tent in Ontario, but it'd be good to talk to another West Coast tent company. And I know Doghouse will ship wherever as well too, right? But
yes, and they're working on their whole US thing right now too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, another good one is, and they're Canadian too, is Hitchweb, and they do a lot of the 4x4 and off-roading and that kind of stuff, suppliers, and even Martin at Adrenaline Bumpers. That's what he does, is these bumpers, and he's Canadian.
Yep. And that's one of the things that the podcast is about, is promoting Canadian companies, right? Yep. So that's, promoting YouTubers as well, but Canadian companies is a very big part of the podcast. And there's so many great Canadian companies out there that a lot of people don't even realize, like Adrenaline, right? If you're looking for a Dodge bumper, there's Iron Cross, and then there's, who else, right? Well, Adrenaline right there,
and they're so flimsy too. Like
they are, and the powder coating sucks on the Iron Cross.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
So why not buy a real? Why not buy a real good product that's made in Canada, right? So
exactly. And the if I remember right, HitchWeb's slogan is unapologetic. Oh, I can't even say it.
Unapologetic.
Yes, or unapologetically Canadian. I think that's how they put it.
Which is perfect.
But yeah, it's like, that it's really cool. Like I like when we got Canadian companies like that.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
It's just really cool to see these Canadian companies grow and to develop. And that's what I like. Like whenever we can, we like to support Canada.
It's your neighbors, right? And that's the way I look at it. It's your neighbors. It's the guy that's sponsoring your kid's ball team. It's the guys that you run into down at the grocery store and stuff like that. So same way, I try and support the Canadian companies as much as possible and go from there. Yeah. So once again, we're talking to Daryl, Cayden, and Tosha, the pug, from VanCity Adventure. You can check them out once again at vancityadventure.ca or VanCity Adventure on Facebook, Instagram, etc. Pretty much everything, right? So, but your main concentration, I guess, is on the Instagram and the YouTube. Would be you should promote the YouTube as well. That's where a lot of your content is on YouTube, and you guys got some great videos on there.
We like to fool around on TikTok and just be goofy.
Right?
Instagram's kind of more some shorts and pictures, where YouTube's more our content. So
perfect. Yeah. So TikTok as well too. That's something I haven't really got into is TikTok. So how about you, Cayden? You like the TikTok?
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Because he's doing some YouTube. Like one of the things that before we really got into it was he's into Taekwondo, and so I started filming a lot of my experience will come from that. Was I started filming him doing exercises because he was bored because there was no school. Right. So he started doing workouts for people. So I started filming and editing these things. And that gave me a lot of experience in how to do these things. And it was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot from that. And then I did a compilation video for his dojang that I'd seen on TV where, I don't remember if they were passing a ball or something or punches. And so that's what we did. We did a punch kick video. So, one person punches and then the next clip is that person falling back and then doing a kick. And then so I did a whole compilation like that for them. So that was a lot of fun. And, I learned a lot of my editing from doing those kind of things.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Cool. Well, Daryl and Cayden, really want to thank you guys for coming on board and talking to us tonight. And once again, VanCity Adventure, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Once again, thanks a lot. Really appreciate you guys coming on tonight. And hopefully Tosha doesn't snore too much for you guys tonight.
It's a weird thing. It actually puts me to sleep. So
it's like that white noise, right? Like after you move away from a highway, you can't sleep if there's no highway noise.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on board tonight, guys. I really appreciate you.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
We'll chat soon.
Sounds good.